on defense here, so no sombra in play. They ran the sombra a lot on Volskaya. D.Va really strong on this map, especially here early on, for high ground control.
The Atlanta Reign transition to the point here after getting rid of Yongjin. And it's going to make it harder, I guess, for Shanghai to stand and fight here. Not only are they playing against a Reinhardt comp with Winston, but they don't have a Brigitte anymore. It was just a matter of time before they would fall apart here. Gamsu drops down, but there's no more healing for him. It all got spent on those early trades, and the Atlanta Reign make that look very clean.
They take fight. First point, Ding immediately goes over to Sombra. Gamsu going to bring out the Rhine, so compositional switches for the Shanghai Dragons right away. First point to Bonnie has a lot of really good high ground. Probably why you want the Winston and D.Va.
What about second point, Matt?
You know, there is some high ground here on second point, but, you know, from point A to point B, it's really, you know, just kind of flowing through those streets.
It's a bit more spread out than high ground as well, isn't it? Not as defensible.
And you're not really dealing with, like, any type of, like, hit scan play in the game, right? You're not, like, worried about, like, Widowmakers on the high ground here, or Soldier 76. There's so many tanks, like, not as much of a worry.
Well, the Atlanta Reign want to fight again, and Ding's already switched off that D.Va. He's not having any of it back to his Sombra. There won't be much of a chance in this fight to generate an EMP, so that Sombra might not actually be a relevant factor until we're onto the last stage of this map at this rate, because the Atlanta Reign are not stopping for anybody. DM eliminated before he even touched the ground.
And all you had to do there for Atlanta was use your rally, so Ding will get on the payload, contest it for a second, translocate right away. Just trying to stall it. Maybe his teammates can make it back, but it looks like the Dragon's gonna have to give that one up.
Is this the lack of D.Va for Shanghai that's hurting him, Matt, or what's going on?
I think it's also, well, I think when you play Sombra, you're just playing around EMP. So if he's not able to farm the EMP up pretty quick, you already lose your Lucio, you're not able to use Sound Barrier to keep everybody alive. To use those resources to keep people up, to get that EMP, you're gonna lose fights like that.
Gamsu, shield is low and he is pretty out in the open. He needs to be careful. The Atlanta Reign don't want to give him a chance to escape here, and already Luffy and Cobra have gone down. Yeah, there's going to be a Graviton Surge, but the Transcendence and Sound Barrier kind of get laid over the top. So come on, Reign, calm down. That's generally something you want to avoid doing, but they win the fight convincingly. They're going to be running headlong now into an EMP, and not having a support ultimate to save could be dangerous. The Dragons, it's now or never on this map.
Yeah, they're going to get EMP'd here. We'll see if Ding can make it back, as it's going to be Babybay locking some players in the right spawn door with that grab.
Yeah, this grab makes it impossible for the Dragons to have followed up on the EMP that Ding was surely going to bring into this fight. So sure enough, they get hacked. Babybay goes down. It's a 2-for-2 trade now. Both teams playing with 4, should I say. But Ding, I think his job is far from done. He's found Dogman, and that payload sits tantalizing close towards the end of the map, but not quite there.
You know, look, they did get the Dragons to use both Sound Barrier and Transcendence there. No rally available for the Dragons here as well. So you'll come back if you're Atlanta, you can rally on in. And maybe you end up getting your self-destruct here with Dako, and you're able to make a play. A lot of open space here towards the end. You can like rally, get the speed boost, get onto Gamsu, maybe hit a bash from behind, then get a self-destruct.
The Reign, they layered support ultimates and they paid for it. Simple as that. They have a rally at least though, and they're close to a Transcendent, so they push up here. Looks like Dogman and Erster both got knocked down. I think it was Erster knocked down, Dogman stunned up by a Brigitte after the fact, but Yongjin still removed. EMP comes out here. Maybe it's a little bit late in the day, go, because Gamsu didn't help so badly, and it wasn't an EMP that it required. And it will be Atlanta getting home. They were probably close to reaching record time for attacks on this map. That time has been cut down a little bit after that failed attempt to finish the map, but as it stands, Shanghai 3 minutes 21 on the clock, Atlanta Reign 3 minutes 43, and we're going back for some extra Overwatch.
我觉得我答对了，应该是的。耶，怎么样？我就说我竞猜很厉害的，大家就跟着我猜，绝对没有错。就是选 C 的朋友们，你们答对了，非常恭喜。
We've seen so much of this map, Matt. So quickly. Both of these teams are very successful attackers, but both not good when it comes to their defense.
I think when you had to play D.Va for Shanghai, didn't really get as much value as we've seen from him in the past on sombra. So it'll be the Dragons on offense here. They're going to go with a traditional triple tank, triple support yet again.
Pokpo going to give him a bit of a tickle there. And it was actually Gumsu that got knocked to the low ground here. That's going to be really awkward for him. Gumsu's going to get harassed constantly by Darko. And I don't think he can really do a whole lot about it. No. The 1v1, the winner is Darko. And the Dragons, I mean, that was over before it started, having their Reinhardt knocked off. Great play, I think, from Masa, it likely was to knock him off the edge.
We'll see the Dragons set up for another attack yet again once they get Gamsu into play. As Dogman did a nice job hitting a nade on the Pokpo there, keeping him alive. So they get Dogman up on this high ground. As you know, they're not playing a D.Va on offense, Shanghai, so no real opportunity to challenge him up here.
That's nasty.
It's a big biotic grenade.
But I've seen this before.
When you have the D.Va in play, they got to eat those nades. So it's just like the last time. The nade gets through for Atlanta, but the Dragons still get the early pick off.
They do have the Primal Rage, though, there. And DM, despite having a bubble, wasn't able to keep himself in a position that he wanted to be in. DM actually sat teetering on the edge of the map before finally falling down for a long time. It's a long stagger. A long time before the Zaya is going to return to the fight, but maybe they won't need it. No. The Shanghai Dragons are able to get it done with Gamsu and Ding primarily. The D.Va play from him looked very good in the late stages of that fight. And again, we see a sick body grenade from Dogman, but there's no follow-up because Atlanta already dropped to the low ground.
Yeah, I mean, they had the nano boost on Pokpo as well. He's playing Winston in that scenario, but Pokpo will change.
There's Gamsu, by the way.
Yeah, this will see the Gamsu shatter. Right around the corner here. Connects with 3 players. Pretty big. You get Dogman there and Masa.
Yeah. Get yourself a main tank who blocks self-destructs and then hits big shatters. Again, no Reinhardt for the rain. Hurt them there. Just the Winston. Pokpo switched now, though, a little bit earlier than he had last time. And the Rain realized they really need to drain the clock a little bit more to give themselves a shot.
I think Ding uses that self-destruct to create space, but also I imagine he's going to switch off of this. It's be a fast push here from the Dragons. It'll be Soundbarrier that comes through from the Rain to keep them alive through that DM grab.
Now both teams really pulling out the stops here. Every ultimate really being used. Both teams went for the Graviton Surges here, but the big difference maker likely was the Transcendence that Luffy had.
So Dogman's playing on that first point, right? So no opportunity to build up towards the Transcendence, playing the Ana. So he was a little bit behind in terms of ult charge, and just like I was talking about, Ding uses that self-destruct, plays that fight as D.Va goes back, now will play Sombra.
Shanghai Dragons still will need to win one more fight to get themselves to that 5th checkpoint. This is the 2nd playthrough on this map. Both of these teams really like pushing it to extra time by the looks of things. It's Gamsu's shatter that is probably where you want to be looking. Pokpo's going to have one himself pretty soon there. Youngjin looked like he was a little bit too deep for a moment, but managed to get out. Koma, though, was not so lucky. Earth Shatter return from Gamsu, but only Erster was hit by it. Pokpo's hack for the time being, but it's too late. The hack had to come earlier where Gamsu had the shatter. Now things are looking dicey for the Dragons.
Yeah, you know you could play aggressive here if you're Atlanta, because no way Ding is close to an EMP. DM uses a grab there towards the end.
It's buttoned by Darko.
Gets nothing as it goes into Dako's matrix. So Atlanta gets a hold basically right before where the point B checkpoint is.
Listen, guys, give me bubbles and give me all your healing. And don't worry about it. Let me carry. Let me play the Winston. Let me get Primal. Masa. Sound Barrier. Me. Just me. The Atlanta Rain had to be feeling good about that one. Actually, it could have been pretty rough. We saw the hack coming onto Pokpo a little bit later in that fight. Had it come just a bit earlier, that Earth Shatter from Gamsu would have connected with more than just the one player. Could have been devastating.
I think if you're Shanghai, there has to be a conversation here. Do you play the D.Va on first point? It looks like they will. But because of where the payload is if a fight results in the same thing as last time, you're going to go into the next fight with no shatter percentage, and you're going to have Ding probably go over to Sombra and not have any charge on that. So, you know, you're giving up 2 ultimates, which could end up being a deciding factor if Atlanta's able to break this quick.
Reinhardt on the approach here from the Rain, which is pretty standard. So I expect to see them go for something similar to Volskaya, Matt. Say, hey, you're playing a Winston-based composition, come and fight us. See how that works out now.
I just think if you're Shanghai, you needed to consider maybe playing Ding on the Sombra here. And even if it doesn't give you the best chance of holding here, point A, you win a fight or two with the Sombra, and then you lose it, you still have the EMP as the fight goes on, right? It still sets you up in a good space in the overall sense of the game. Big boop there, knocking Pogbo down from the high ground as the Reinhardt just standing solo on the point. As soon as that happens, the rest of the Dragons just push right on through.
Yeah, now the Reign know how it feels. That's exactly what the objective is there generally. When there's a Reinhardt-based composition trying to play from the high ground, get rid of the Reinhardt and then punish Xayah. That's exactly what the Dragons did, so 3 minutes left. Atlanta probably still feeling fine right now.
Yeah. Well, Atlanta knows, I mean, they have, with the way the Dragons have played, they have to know if they win one fight, they're going to switch on for the Winston, switch on for the Diva. So you have an advantage in terms of 2 ultimate slots. You have to know if you're Atlanta, you have a very good chance to take the map if you can force them off the switch.
Looks like the Reign were trying to force something from the Dragons there as well, maybe some over-aggression.
They're going to play the low ground here.
And Popo actually turned his back on the Dragons there, oddly enough. So this is the Primal Rage. This is what's going to hurt them here. Maybe that's what they were trying to bait out beforehand, but Gumsu didn't use it. There won't be a nano boost, by the way. There's no Ana here for the Dragons, so Gumsu's going to have to make do with the health that he currently has. But Popo's gone down, so Gumsu got what he wanted. Split apart the Reign with the Primal Rage, and then allow your teammates just to pick them off one by one.
Yes, Atlanta tries to go for the low ground, like they kind of wrap all the way around, like underneath that top bridge, but the Primal just is too much to deal with. I mean, too much displacement. Popo gets knocked back onto the point. They just kind of deal with him with Youngjin, and now the Dragons have built up some ultimates. So Atlanta going to have to invest pretty heavy in this fight to be able to take it.
So this time to the low ground again. Atlanta starting to run out of options in time. And where does Popo send his Graviton Surge? He has to wait for the Dragons to commit, and he has to hope that it won't get eaten from over his left shoulder. DM's able to get his grab off first, but no one was caught in that either, so very odd start to this fight. Ding desuited now. Baby Bay, yes, they managed to chase down the desuited Diva, so this is where he starts to think about using that Graviton Surge in earnest now. Transcendence from Coma, but everyone's going to get caught together. Even the Sound Barrier used everything coming out for the Shanghai Dragons, but it still won't be enough. Losing the Diva when they did, and Atlanta had saved key ultimates. Now the Shanghai Dragons start to stress a bit more. The Reign will get a modest extension and continue to push across the map.
Yeah, they saved Sound Barrier and they build up to another rally pretty much with Ursa and Brigitte. So if you're Masa, you know that they're not going to get that EMP.
Oh my god， 这球啊，一箭穿心呐！对，一支穿云箭啊，千军万马来相见啊。那现在呢，这个猛龙的方面反超2分，库克不投3分，给到考辛斯过渡啊。利文斯顿险些又是慌了。看一下单打落瑞吗？利文斯顿以为被拍掉，汤普森被2个包夹分球。
Are biding their time. They're giving the Reign plenty of space here. This is allowing the Reign to poke and accrue a lot of their key ultimates. And ultimates online. The Dragons may not have any.
And Ding isn't really like kind of going behind enemy lines trying to poke as well. You know, he's only about 50% of the way there towards that EMP.
Goes to Hacked again. He's getting pretty used to that this series. But Masa has a Sound Barrier. They found Coma though. This has got to be the floodgates opening. The Dragons give us a bit of Shanghai action to finish off the round. The Atlanta Reign take the third map in the series, make it 2 for them, and set themselves up to end the series come map 4.
Atlanta did a nice job once they switch compositions, use their ultimates aggressively, push through, they complete the map. Atlanta 1 map away from beating the Dragons.
安营扎寨，示意我们别忘了他们在2年前提出的那套核心理论，被记住的永远是疯子。
还是跑步好啊！
王者荣耀召唤你参加企鹅跑，企鹅跑王者快跑，6月15日正式开跑。
哎，欢迎回来啊！这3分一进，这边勇士又是请求了暂停，暂停时间，先把时间交给美娜来看看我们的我要上暂停。
好的，我要上暂停之前呢，还是跟大家再介绍一件事情。那运动场上受伤的是如影随形，无论大家是否是阿杜的球迷，愿伤病可以远离球场，欢迎球。
由陕西、甘肃、宁夏一路打到山东、河北，最后目标是收复东北。国民党在全面内战初期攻打华北解放区收到了成效。1946年11月，傅作义部队攻下了中共华北解放区的政治军事中心张家口。隔年，1947年3月，胡宗南的部队又占领了中共大本营延安，以为获致大胜利，但从此之后的战局却每况愈下。
国民党以守城市为主，那么毛泽东指示他们的共军呢，是以歼灭敌人的主力为主，而不是争夺城市，甚至有时候放弃城市，这是很大的一个基本的箴言。
原来，当国民政府军队每攻占一座城市的同时，共军就在城市周边的农村积极发展，形成反包围城市的态势。
它这个地方很大，这个国军数量有限，数量有限的部队，那么只能固守在一些城市里、一些据点里。这样的话，把广大的这个农村地区或者比较偏远的地区就让给了中共部队的发展。那么中共部队经过一定的发展之后，他可能就有了更大的实力来跟这个国军的部队交战。
除了战略路线，中共也掌握战后人民厌战的心理因素，积极争取无产阶级农民的认同。
经过8年的抗战之后，老百姓都希望能够休息，只有他还想打，那老百姓都非常的不满，对，不会停。城市居民，物价一直上涨，没办法生存。农村的居民，每天都要玩，每天搞不完的这种玩粮纳税。今天来了这个部队，后天又来了其他的部队，不胜其扰，民不聊生。
Transcendence comes through, and you see, I mean, they just have to back up.
Yeah, that Earth Shatter that pretty much zones them and lines them up there. And you saw that Ding was trying to get in there, but he was remaining visible for the most part. He wouldn't have wanted to reveal himself until he absolutely had to. So we're
on Havana, but right here at the beginning, Baby gets low, has to back up.
Nice little immortality filled there. It took eyes off Baby Bay for long enough for him to get a little bit of healing, but the Atlanta Reign don't really seem to have the staying power, and the Shanghai Dragons are relentless.
You know, I was talking with the analyst in the back. There's not a downside to taking the fight on the cart. Because, like on Dorado, right, the bad part about taking the fight on the cart sometimes, that some teams don't do it, is that you kind of allow the team to get through that really tough choke. On Havana, the tough choke isn't up until, like, this next bend of the cart. And you're going to get the fight here if you're Atlanta anyway.
Ponderously, the cart moving now over towards this bend, and the Atlanta Reign look at them very quickly, trying to assert themselves to take space, draw the line in the sand, so to speak. Who's going to help Popo here? He might be in a bit of trouble, especially with an Orb of Discord Omen and Erster having his immortality field taken away. Popo now again is going to get completely crunched. It was the EMP, of course, that connected, and really there was no way anyone was going to escape that one. Dogman trying to evade DM as long as he could, eventually gets caught by the swing of Gumsu's hammer, and the Atlanta Reign unable to come up with anything on this defensive attempt either.
Yeah, and I wonder if we see Ursa switch off of the Batiste onto, I was going to say either Brigitte or the Ana here. As, that'll be a point A take for Shanghai. Atlanta, they hold on defense for a little bit on top of the cart, but after that, really nothing. Interested to see how they get used to the Sombra here from point B to C. As you know, inside the warehouse, so close quarter, where like you're not going to be able to get like a hack on a Zen for free or anybody for free. So many players close quarters. It looks like the hack comes from the low ground of the high.
He just walks up and hacks Darko. And guess what? Darko can't eat the grab that was going to be forthcoming. Very clever, very cute. Looking knocked down, but there it is. 5 players knocked down by the Earth Shatter. It had to be a sound barrier from the Atlanta Reign to even keep themselves in the fight. And it looks like that in itself may have been enough. Very fortunate that support ultimate was available because that Shatter looked like a crushing one.
And they wanted to push forward because DM is so high charged, but not able to push forward. Get the elim there. You see him almost chunk down Baby. He's got grab here to use.
DM trying to force back Popo here. He just lets the grab go straight away, and now Dogman actually gets fortunately pulled up onto the high ground by the Graviton Surge.
Oh, they're able to just disengage here from the EMP.
Had that Transcendence there. That was pretty important. Don't know how they were able to back away from that way, but it's just as well the Dogman opted to get grabbed. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get onto the high ground as quickly as he did.
Then Dako did a nice job, just deterring some of the follow-up, launching one of those defensive self-destructs towards the backside of the Graviton Surge. See Dako just sitting up on the, he's up on the high ground above here. Yep, there he is. Gets hacked up by Ding. D.Va's like the #1 target for Ding to farm up that EMP quick.
Yeah, not a ton, I guess, it can be done about that Sombra. When you're Diva, you can interrupt the hack with some damage maybe, but the Atlanta Reign, again, they are looking like they are easing into this little corner position, Matt.
Yeah, it was a solo shadow there that comes out from Popo on Luffy, and have nothing to keep him up. You did end up burning your rally there, so pretty big hold for Atlanta, as Atlanta trying to build up that war chest of ultimates yet again.
Well, they're not in bad shape in all fairness. Baby Bay close to a Graviton Surge.
They're gonna try and go high ground here.
Now,
they shatter.
You still need to filter through a very small opening. And yeah, the Reign do know this is happening. You saw Popo just peek around the corner. You have to commit to this now if you're Shanghai, otherwise you're wasting a little bit too much time. So Gamsu gets into the back line. Somehow they get Popo out of the picture here, but the Graviton Surge is still there. Popo returns with a flourish, and Youngjin splattered on the wall.
You know, a part of the reason they go right side to the high ground, they're trying to open up an avenue for Ding to, you know, create some space for himself, a different look. Dako and Dogman have played this so well, though. I know Ding gets on the cart, and he's going for a hack on a Dogman up on the high ground. Dako looks down, breaks it up quickly, and then he translocates out. And then Dako, with the Discord on Ding, just flies all the way back here to basically the spawn, finds him, takes him out. Really nice play between Dako and Dogman.
It's got to be an EMP out the window here for Ding at some point, surely. Earth Shatter attempt there. There's a Transcendence, though, for the Shanghai Dragons. It was 3 people connected with by Popo's hammer. And Ding has to translocate out. This is where the Reign can really start pressuring now in a 6v5 scenario. 4 players caught out, though, by that EMP, but the sound barrier was still able to be applied to them. Unfortunately, having the Zenyatta or the Zarya there are your 2 main sources of damage. DM charged out by Popo, but he had no one to help him finish the kill on the Zarya. So DM keeps his charge and has a grab for next fight.
It was still a pretty good hold there for the Reign. Is a minute to go on the clock. You can come back in the next fight. You'll have a grab. You'll end up with a shatter. You know, the bad part is you don't have any support ult to really deal with this grab that's going to come down from DM. You have his sound barrier from Coma. So
do you just hold ultimates here if you're Atlanta? Are you trying to concede this point now, knowing what you might be running into?
This map's pretty defensive favored. Like, you feel pretty bad if they get it all the way, starting to go to point C, but I think it all depends. Like, when the fight really kicks off, if you built up maybe another ultimate or 2, you can invest. But what you have now, which is what they're trying to do, they're trying to just burn clock here.
Baby Bay, solo grab for him. He's forced to give himself a bubble. Popo jumps up there. That's really clever. Popo able to give Baby Bay the shielding that he needs, but Baby Bay is discorded to 1 health. He's sitting in the back corner. He goes down. Ding's finally managed to get him. Dako desuited now, so effectively the Reign are down 2 players. Let's make it 3 with Popo eventually being brought down. And that will be the Atlanta Reign having to give up the second checkpoint now, Matt. One way or another, they had to do it. Fortunately for them, it's just the rally that they have to commit here.
You know, unfortunate for the Atlanta Reign is, you know, that fight, if they're able to like kind of stall like a few other seconds, you know, Popo does a pretty good shatter. You know, you had sound barrier coming online, you had Transcendence, you had grab, like you could have potentially held that, but they have to be pretty fortunate, although not a great hold on point A. They do very nice from point A to point B.
I mean, that's not a great sign for the Reign. If your Sombra, as the Dragons, goes into the backline, tries to assassinate, gets out, and you're still able to get rid of the enemy Reinhardt when you're technically a player down fighting the frontline fight, not good. And that cart is going to be getting close to the bridge here. Now, Atlanta Reign, how far can they really afford to push out here?
A lot of line of sight here, though. The break, potentially the EMP, is they're going to be able to get the sound barrier off.
But they get the sound barrier. Ursa's able to turn around and get rid of Ding. DM gets his grab eaten by Dako for the 2nd time this series, if I'm not mistaken, and Dako gets 2. And that should be enough. Gamsu now is going to get knocked off. The Discord Orb was there. They will probably stagger Luffy a little bit here as he had his rally armor, which just ended up prolonging his demise at the end of the day. And there's 16 seconds left in the round. The Reign, well, they've got some support ultimates at least. Matt's more than we could say for them before.
Every time Atlanta needs a play to go their way, it's Dako, man, that comes up with it. The eat on the grab of DM, and then the self-destruct kills. There goes Ding. Don't have that Sombra in. So it looks like the Dragons to be as far as they
恢复土地改革，那也就是说农民翻身。好，然后为什么？因为他的军队的来源绝大部分是来自于农民。那如果农民翻身，农民都有土地耕， 那实施土地改革的意思就是要清算地主嘛。那清算地主，没收地主的土地，再把地主的土地分给农民，而这些农民为了保有他的土地，就愿意把他的子弟奉献出来，加入红军，因为他们避免地主带着国民党的军队再回头来镇压他们。
国民政府军进攻山东以及陕北这2个解放区的结果，造成主力部队分散东西2翼。中共以游击战消耗对方的战力，使得国府军兵力是越打越少。根据毛泽东选集的记载，从1946年7月到1947年11月为止，17个月的时间，共擒杀了国府正规军和非正规军160万人，其中死伤64万人，俘虏的则有105万人。
1945之后开始那段，这兵力的比还是相当悬殊。1946年7月，国民党400万人，共产党的120万人，
那差很多哎。
1948年的6月，国民党370万，共产党280万，然后就交叉了。共产党的土地政策正好成为一个有巨大的吸引力，得罪了少数的地主，可是他争取了广大的农民了，80%以上的农民都被他讨好了。所以在这个情形下，共产党在2年半的内战里面，他的军队规模一直的成长，一直成长，越来越大，大到什么程度？也就是说，到了1948年的9月，共产党在东北的军队规模已经到100多万，而国民党在东北的武装力量才60几万。
1948年秋，形势发生了巨大的变化。人民解放军的总兵力虽然少于国民党军，但是全国的军事、政治和经济形势已经变得越来越有利于人民，进行战略决战的条件日渐成熟。
国共之间的军事实力原本相当悬殊。1946年6月全面开打，经过2年。
Around the corner now. They come around the corner, stun on a ding, that'll force them to back up.
Yeah, due diligence there from the Atlanta Reign. Make sure that there's no Sombra harassing them constantly from behind. Dogman, Baby Bay went for the spy check, but Massa went for the chase up there. Baby Bay got hacked for a moment. Still able to shield out a lot of this damage, and Darko's happy to take some. Just going to feed his healer's ultimates at the end of the day. Speaking of which, Luffy he's cruising along towards that first Transcendence, and Baby Bay constantly being harassed. Ding now. His hack doesn't connect and Gamsu gets removed. Yep. This is the Atlanta Reign going aggressive when they know that Ding is futzing around behind their lines.
And what they do is they just boop Gamsu right back into them. No Diva to fly in with the Matrix. The bubble comes down. But if you're Atlanta, just burn it down. Even if you give DM some charge, who cares? You get Gamsu out of the fight. Luffy with a very fast Transcendence here. I wonder if Atlanta has any ideas to be able to farm this ultimate so quick.
Oh, almost. 2 minutes to go, and straight away the Atlanta Reign are going to keep getting aggressive. Dogman was hacked there, and he's kind of ticked off about that, I think. Not much can be done, but Popo's forced to back up here. That was because there was a Transcendence. I wonder if Dogman goes for his now and they continue fighting. It looks like
back up.
Discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah,
the Georgians.
You lose Baby Bay, you have to back up here. Can't double down without the Zari in the mix, so grab 4 dragons here. They also are going to end up with their EMP.
Yep. EMP, man.
Dogman's got to hide. He can hide inside the building here.
That's exactly what he's doing. You can see his little highlight there, just behind where Baby Bay is standing. But the Reign have to make this look convincing. They need to get the Dragons to come forward aggressively here. Ding! Whoa, Ding actually got knocked down there. Popo hit the shadow and got the enemy Sombra while they were invisible. I don't think you realize that, and Ding is actually able to escape in the end, but they get Gamsu. Now the Dragons, do they bother investing? An EMP went out there, Reinhardt? Well, no way they're going to do it now. That was insane from Popo.
And Ding was actually putting some pressure on a Dogman, so what they decided to do is just use the Transcendence, push on forward, and then as soon as the Transcendence comes from Dogman, Ding is actually trying to get back to the team outside of stealth, and then that's when the 360 shatter comes down from Popo from behind. So
did he 360 and then walk away?
They did. They didn't really follow it up.
No, didn't have to. 4-player on that EMP, and again, I mean, Ding's had a few of these when the EMPs are good, but he lingers and he gets picked off very quickly. The Reign and players in general are getting good at responding, but look how low Atlanta were.
Yeah.
Their healers weren't able to keep them topped up, and even the fight looked good for them. Eventually just got too low.
I mean, they had the sound barrier go off, just was not enough to just sustain through everything. Dogman gets picked off a little bit later. Daco's going to get demeched here. You're going to lose a few players.
Ooh,
so
dear.
Stagger out here for Atlanta. We'll be able to get grouped up, though. So they'll have Rally to engage.
If you're Atlanta, are you just thinking, please let us get through this part of the map without getting EMP'd? Are they? I mean, they have to know that that's not on the plate right now, and if they
they know if they lose another fight, the fight after they're dealing with an EMP. So this fight's huge.
Still going to get aggressive though. Gamsu went for an Earth Shatter. Looks like Erst was the only one that was actually knocked down by that one. Sound barrier here for most of the Shanghai Dragons, but the Atlanta Reign are going to continue pushing forward now with that Transcendence. Note Luffy at the bottom of your screen here. He's not been noticed yet, but all he can do is walk out onto the payload and get taken down. The bright side for the Shanghai Dragons is, Matt, is that Ding got a lot of ultimate charge in that fight. Spent a lot of the time around the fringes just harassing, not even necessarily trying to get kills, but to charge an EMP.
Yeah, and Atlanta did end up using all their support ultimates there, so won't have anything to get through this DM grab. Unless Dako can come up with an E.
That's clever. Baby Bay goes for an early Graviton Surge here. Popo gets grabbed as well, but he's close enough to get damage on the front line of the Dragons. It doesn't seem to matter though. Baby Bay took a lot of damage early. He's down, and now the Reign know next fight they're walking into an EMP, and they still won't have support ultimates.
Yes, Dako was not playing towards the front to try and eat the Grav, potentially. He was actually just kind of dueling Ding in the back, but you know, in the time that he is dueling Ding, he kind of feeds over the EMP over to Ding. So, EMP available here for the Dragons next fight. Still pretty good time for Atlanta, though. Even though, I know Atlanta down in terms of ultimates in this fight.
After they
still
get
for the
EMP,
long game. After they get EMP, they have a lot.
And all remember, they'll get a time extension if they hit their checkpoint. So it's not all doom and gloom here. They're thinking about that EMP, though, a lot. 3 players caught by that one, and Popo got blown up straight away. Atlanta do not invest any ultimates, which is good for them, but nor does Shanghai. Shanghai get a very cheap fight win, and now they're going to burn the clock down to about a minute before the next fight starts.
And they use the EMP early to not allow the Atlanta Reign to get in, build up some of their ultimates, get closer to like a support ultimate, or potentially try and set up a play there. As soon as the EMP goes off, Shanghai, everybody in Atlanta basically just standing there. Shanghai finishes them off. Builds up some of their ultimates coming into this next fight.
Around the left-hand side go the Reign. This is a different approach. Circumventing a little bit of that dangerous trek across the brewery floor. What are they looking for here? Looks like they're trying to bait some aggression. That shield is low though. Popo's going to have to hide in just a moment. The rest of his team's going to have to bear the brunt. And that was great timing. Gamsu saw as soon as Popo backed away, he'd get an easy Earth Shatter, and that he did. And now the Atlanta Reign pretty much have one more chance, Matt. And you said they were looking good on time, and it was reasonable then, but maybe not so much now. They are in trouble.
And Masa goes to sound barrier, and Luffy just connects with a headshot. Takes him out before the sound barrier can come down and potentially save everybody who got hit with that Earth Shatter. Transcendent, sound barrier, EMP, grab. It is not looking good for Atlanta right now.
It's got to happen here. Well, not at all. 13 seconds, Ding. Close to another EMP, and why not just drop one in? Look at the patience. He is waiting because Dogman is currently inside of Transcendence. Still a little bit of healing available for the Reign, but then 4 players got hacked by that EMP. Erster down. Master desperately has to just go to the payload, and with the Dragons with a sound barrier, it's impossible for them to lose this fight. There's not going to be any cheekiness. Master snuck onto the payload, though. He is pushing it, but it looks like the Dragons are aware of that. They do know. Double back, and they deal with him, and that was it, really, for the Reign. No other options. Erster trying to get there. He at least gets a pile driver onto the payload, but gets blown up awfully fast, and there it is. We've got ourselves a map 5. The Shanghai Dragons strike back here on Havana.
到1948年8月，中共解放军从120万成长到280万，国府军则从早先的400万被擒杀100多万人，数量大减。甚至1948年底，双方的兵量呈现交叉走势，共军人数扶摇直上。尤其从1948年9月到隔年1月之间的3大战役——辽沈、淮海以及平津战役，被认为最是决定胜败的关键。经过这3大战役，中共解放军彻底击败国府军，势力直达长江。继续第2个单元，我们来看决定国共胜败的3大战役。
1948年8月，国民政府在南京召开军事会议。当时国防部长何应钦在军事形势报告指出，2年来的内战，国军总共损失300多万人，除了部分死伤之外，也有部分是叛降，被编成了解放军。至于耗损的武器，步枪有100万支，机枪7万挺，炮1000多门，另外还有战车、装甲车以及大批通讯器材及弹药，也都成了解放军的装备。此时，国府军还剩5个集团军，合计370万剿匪部队，分别是卫立煌领军的东北剿匪总司令部、傅作义的华北剿总、刘志的徐州剿总、白崇禧的华中剿总，以及西北地区的湖中南兵团。 同一时期，中共在农村的土地改革，让农民打倒地主，获得土地，农村因此掀起了一阵参军参战的热潮。中共的总兵力已经来到了280万，势力范围从陕西延安一路延伸到东北，与国府军的比例接近1:1:3。
共产党认为时机到了，他要改变游击战，因为游击战不能决定这个战争的成败，游击战就是骚扰而已。好，就是把对方的军队脱皮了。好，这个时候共产党要取得胜利的时候，就必须要从游击战转为会战。
1948年9月，中共中央主席毛泽东在河北省平山县西柏坡召开了党内干部政治局会议，定下目标。回溯从1946年7月算起，以5年的时间建设500万解放军，并且在第3年度，也就是举行会议的1948年9月开始，和国民政府军进行决战，主力战场就在华北、东北。
因为我们看这里，这是1948年9月7号，毛泽东打给林彪跟罗荣桓的电报。林彪跟罗荣桓那个时候是主持辽沈战役，这样。他讲，我念，我们准备5年左右，夸虎从1946年7月算起，根本上打倒国民党，这是具有可能性的。
毛泽东指出，如果蒋介石的兵力80%消灭在长江以北，也就算打倒了国民党。
中共在东北占领97%的土地，而国民政府只有长春、锦州与沈阳3个城市。加上共军在兵力上有绝对的优势，所以选择东北作为决战的第一战场。拿下东北后，再进一步进攻华北与华东，就没后顾之忧。
当时蒋介石确实有一度，他觉得东北的内战可能很难继续再坚持下去。那么，与其如此，不如把东北的几十万部队撤到关内，可能还能有利于关内的这个作战。
于是，蒋介石主张将全数东北部队撤回关内，好跟华北、华东2个主力结合，阻绝共军于关外。可是当时驻守在沈阳的东北剿匪总司令卫立煌持相反的意见。
他说：“我为什么要撤？对不对？他说以我们的装备来讲，当时国军装备很强啊。为什么？因为在前一年的时候，那个四平街打得很漂亮啊。对，国军一路上面打到四平街，打到长春了，对不对？把林彪的部队往这个北满那个方向去走啊，对不对？他认为一定要守沈阳啊，要守沈阳。所以双方在这个究竟要不要撤，要不要从这个把这个兵力全部都集中到锦州，跟这个在这个过程当中，其实是举棋不下的。”
就当国府军在撤与不撤东北之间犹豫，中共在1948年9月12日，以林彪与罗荣桓的东北野战军70万兵力发动辽沈战役。国府军当时只有卫立煌所率领的55万东北剿总部队应战，中共一开始只直接攻打锦州。这时，蒋介石紧急从南京飞往沈阳召开军事会议，决定调派锦西、葫芦岛的部队东进，沈阳的主力部队西进来解救锦州。但是东西2支兵团都在半路受到共军的阻挠，无法前进。10月14日，共军对锦州发动总攻击，第2天就攻陷锦州，俘虏了锦州指挥官范汉杰，取得了国府军全部装备物资。锦州沦陷后，长春孤立无援。10月19日，镇守长春的第1兵团司令郑洞国弃械投降，长春也沦陷。锦州、长春相继沦陷，蒋介石仍旧不放弃，命令廖耀湘率领兵团西进，企图抢回锦州。共军将廖耀湘兵团包围在辽河以西，国共展开辽西会战。10月28日，西进兵团遭共军歼灭，司令廖耀湘被俘虏。接下来，中共大军围逼沈阳，驻守在沈阳的国府军纷纷投降。东北剿总司令卫立煌也在沈阳沦陷前大举逃亡。1948年11月2号，历时52天的辽沈战役结束，共军全面占领东北。
共产党的人损失不多，国民党的人损失比较多，损失大概45万多人。好，就是国民党的军队身受重伤，这一重伤严重了。为什么？因为本来国民党的这个40几万的主力可以拉到平津，守住平津这一线呢，可是他已经少掉了这个。那这些军队被歼灭，投共的投共，所以这些军队反而让东北军就更大了。林彪的东北野战军的力量就更大了，因为有很多人就变成从国民党的军队就变成红军了。
内战越演越烈，也影响经济急剧恶化。
That's kind of rough because it doesn't really give Atlanta the ability to choose where they're discording so much. They kind of just had to deal with where the orb was. 1-for-1 trade though early. Darko desuited. What do they get out of Darko's aggressiveness? Nothing really. And no, the Dragons are able to wipe them off now. And yeah, like you said, Matt, the Dragons haven't won this map before, but that just seemed pretty straightforward theory with the triple support sombra.
I mean, 2 hacks there for Ding. You're able to farm up 60% of EMP, and this is going to be an uphill battle for the Reign. Young Jin can get Rally during this fight. Rally, you may not even need EMP at that point. Then you're just using EMP. With how control points go, you know, that we could be final fight territory right after that. Could be a tough point here for Atlanta.
Must have got hacked. Young Jin getting an Inspire prop, but also his Rally available with that whip shot. He's going to use it immediately here. This might have been over-aggression, though, from the Shanghai Dragons.
It's a huge kill from Ursa on the Ding. I mean, Ding's alive right now. He's got that EMP. The Ursa using his rally now, getting aggressive as Dako with another eat of a grab there.
3. Transcendence now for the Atlanta Reign, and they've done everything right in this fight, Matt. From getting rid of the Sombra early to punishing an aggressive Reinhardt in Gamsu to eating a grab. Perfect stuff for the Atlanta Reign. And they still have ultimates left over now. Ding has gotten to his EMP. Outside of that, though, sound barrier from Coma, there'll be an Earth Shatter from Gamsu. Those 3 are the ones to watch in this next fight. The Reign have a comparable arsenal of ultimates.
They do have that high ground as well. So with the high ground, if the EMP comes through, might be able to kite it a little bit. It looks like you want to play close. The EMP comes down, but you do get some ults off.
Ding got caught in the grab, Matt. I didn't think that was the intent necessarily from the Atlanta Reign. They wanted to catch the rest of them. It was just bad timing. So, yeah, the Atlanta Reign get EMP'd, but they hold all of the follow-up elements in one place with that Graviton Surge, including Ding, who just gets, well, mashed.
And now with both teams coming into this next fight, I mean, you have the Earth Shatter Sound Barrier combination.
What a great grab.
Like, yeah, really nice play there from Baby Bay.
Yeah, I guess they're working with an Earth Shatter. That's about it, right?
Ding's getting a touch here on the point here, so Dako's just going to jump down.
Careful, Gamsu. Very aggressive here. Pushes up. Oh, nicely done. Popo, he went for an Earth Shatter. He got interrupted by the enemy Brigadier of Yongjin, and now Gamsu is able to turn it around. Suffice to say, his Earth Shatter actually connected, and in a big way. The Atlanta Reign, though, get themselves at 74%. Shanghai Dragons find themselves behind, but they have an EMP. Defensive EMP here would be devastating.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have the grab as well, so for Shanghai, you can, if Atlanta comes high ground, you can use it the same type of way. And it's much harder to, like, hide here if you're, like, Dogman to use the Transcendence with the EMP coming through.
Yeah. And that was so brutal. I mean, Gamsu baited Popo into going for an Earth Shatter by going aggressive, and then he got stunned out of it. So Atlanta just lost a lot of their tools. Ding, just trying to find out where he wants to enter this fight from. Okay, he's just going to walk straight up and door to the front door, but that was maybe a little bit hasty because he doesn't connect with Dogman with that EMP, so it allows Atlanta to still heal through a lot of this damage, but so that it necessitates the grab at least. But so that's fair.
But the issue is that, like, the teams are so good now at focus firing down the Reinhardts is that the Transcendence comes down from Dogman, but Popo's just not able to live through it. So he just gets burned down. We're already at 94%. Looks like Popo's just trying to charge in, get a touch on the point, get attacked on the way there. To be the Dragons who take our first point here on the
Oh, Matt. Atlanta have had a rough run in map 5 as well.
Yeah.
Over the last few weeks, they just do not have a good record when it comes down to tiebreakers. I mean, this would be so frustrating, right? They did manage to get the better of New York, of course, but the shock, map 5, Titans, they didn't quite get there. They're losing to the Dragons here. I mean, they're trying to keep their heads above water. You know, we spent so much time at the start of this game talking about how scary they are, what they're doing to these top teams. You don't consider Shanghai part of that list, right? They're middle of the table, as are the Reign. That's where Atlanta need to be getting wins if they want people to take them seriously. Flash in the pan performances against top teams are great, but you need the W's.
So I mean, the Dragons, they're gonna put Ding on to Diva here. So you're gonna play the Winston version of triple tank, triple support. Interesting comp that comes out for the Reign. The Baby Bay on Sombra, they're gonna play Sombra Mei with an Ana, Lucio, and then they're gonna play the Orisa Roadhog combination. So you get
that was nasty.
Yeah, so you get Dako on the Hog. He gets knocked off the map there by Coma, but Mei very difficult to dive. Same with the Roadhog, Orisa as well.
Popo was in a little bit of trouble there. Quick healing coming out now with that biotic grenade from Dogman. The problem was Popo kind of got rolled over the top of while Erster was in ice block there. He wasn't actually generating any threat as Mei while he was healing. So Dragons are going to take the point here. The Reign, they're
here, so Erster going to use that effect to try and get anybody, but Gamsu uses Primal Rage, lives on through it. They were trying to freeze him down.
It's not working.
No, this has not worked for Atlanta thus far. The Atlanta composition is one that they want to take a lot of real estate on the point. They've not been close to doing so.
So is it Ursa that's going to make the switch here? No.
They've been getting picks, though. Like, they've been getting a first pick. It's just they're not making any progress forward.
Well, we have Blizzard and Holahog, which is a non-bow. They do not work together. Baby Bay going to have an EMP here. Dogman goes down first here again. It's the Dragons that take the initiative, Matt. They sneak in, and they find that first pick. A solid EMP there, though, by Baby Bays, allowing them to pick up Lucy, who would have had his shield stripped from him. Been very vulnerable at 50 HP. Darko right now has to stand around and reload and hope not to get knocked off the point. That's his biggest fear, is Roadhog in this case normally. DM, no way he's getting away from this one. Nice ice wall placed up by Ursta there, and Darko can return to the point.
It's good stall, though, here from the Dragon.
Yeah. Coma caught there. Oh! Interrupted! And there it is. Darko over the edge. Comes to appears at just the right time. The Dragons are still in control at this point now, and Atlanta are actually going to lose this fight. That's a disastrous result for Atlanta.
And Coma ends up using the sound barrier there towards the end when Baby Bay uses his EMP right away. So now it's going to be DM with the grab. I think if you're the Dragons, you can play close. Let's say Baby Bay goes to touch. You can just double back, pick him up off the point.
Early grab here. This is going to keep the rain off the point. They might not have a chance to touch it at all here. Dogman is able to get clear. Popo is able to walk out. He had that fortify. Going to set himself up on the point now, but dealing with both Coma and Gamsu, there is really not a lot he can do about it at all. Luffy eventually going to find the kill on the Shanghai Dragons in map 5. They try.
聊城战役